Hey guys, welcome to News Science, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. And today I'm going to be reviewing the movie Batman Hush. Batman Hush is a movie adaptation of the classic comic book of the same name, Batman Hush. And the artwork is done by Jim Lee in that comic, and it's a fantastic comic. I highly suggest you read it before watching this movie. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty. Is this movie good? Not really. It really could have been better, honestly. The only thing that's a redeeming factor of this movie is the voice work and probably the animation. But the animation is still underwhelming and a little bland compared to, let's say, the very detailed, beautiful artwork that's very vibrant and sharp, thanks to Jim Lee. Now, the movie adaptation, the reason why it's not as great and it's underwhelming as I say it is because, well, the movie adaptation fails to adapt the source material from the comics. And not to sound like I want to spoil anything, but I'm only mainly going to be talking about the comic versus the movie. And you'll have to watch the movie to see what I mean. In the comic, Bruce Wayne meets a character by the name of Thomas Elliot, who is a very well-known, renowned surgeon, a very brilliant one, the most brilliant one in the country. Let's just say a lot of things like conflicts and betrayal happens in this comic. And the one person to betray Bruce Wayne, Batman, is Thomas Elliot, who is a long life childhood friend of Bruce's. The movie doesn't tend to go into that direction. It doesn't adapt that at all. It actually uses other characters, replaces characters from the comics that appear in the comic book, and it replaces it for other characters that had nothing to do with the source material. It also removes certain characters, and it even eliminates certain characters. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? Like, I don't recall this ever happening. Also, some amazing sequences from the comic that I really highly anticipated to see in the movie didn't happen. Like that brawl between Batman and Superman in the comic where Batman punches Superman in the face with the kryptonite ring. Yeah, we got an adaptation of that, but it was done differently and it wasn't executed as well. And let's just say because of one of those moments that wasn't necessarily adapted properly into the film, kind of just lowered my expectations throughout the rest of the movie. They already ruined this film by removing certain characters, by killing off certain characters, and just to give you a little bit of a hint, wink, wink, a particular character that's very important and integral to the story was completely killed off too soon and was just pretty much pushed away and was replaced by a certain character to give him more of a limelight, so to speak, to make him feel more of a serious villain. And I'm thinking to myself, but why? This character did not need to be replaced at all. It was fine the way it was in the comics. Why couldn't that be adapted into the film? And this is something that I've expected in a live action film per se, because the DC movies tend to adapt their property a little bit more faithfully. But as of late, it's just pretty much The Killing Joke all over again. But I think The Killing Joke is the worst film and Batman Hush is the superior film. Because Batman Hush doesn't like waste any time as far as throwing things that are unnecessary. And the only unnecessary things that are in this film are just the changes. And I'm thinking to myself, like, all of this is unnecessary. Characters that were really cool and integral in the story are missing, and we needed that in the film. And I'm just thinking that maybe because of how long the story is, the comic book, I have the graphic novel version of the film. Maybe because of how long and thick this comic is, they were afraid that they might go over the runtime, and they were just pressed for time. So they went ahead and replaced a lot of things. They removed a lot of details. They removed certain characters. They killed off a character. And they added on characters that weren't even originally in the comics. And they only did it because they were pressed for time. And I think they did this because they didn't want to confuse their audience either, who weren't familiar with the DC universe. So it's sad to say that we have another case of The Killing Joke, but it's just not as bad because Batman Hush, once again, is the superior film compared to The Killing Joke. But in the end, I'm going to go ahead and give Batman Hush a C for could have been better. Anyways, guys, that's my review for Batman Hush. Did you see it? Have you bought your copy of Batman Hush on Blu-ray? Go ahead and buy it. I mean, it is a pretty decent watch. You'll have a great time. It's DC Universe. Their animated films tend to be really good and of decent quality, and I like their films. But it's just that this one kind of was a letdown, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I did with the comic book. And if you want to read the superior version of Batman Hush, I suggest you pick up the graphic novel Batman Hush. It's hard to find it in color, by the way. Everywhere you go, you see it in black and white. And it took me a while to find this bad boy. Batman Hush is one of the greatest written comic books of all time, and it's a highly suggested story to pick up. So if you haven't read it already, please go pick up your copy today. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. That was my review for Batman Hush. What did you think of it? Let me know down below. And Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and click on bell notifications so y'all don't miss anything. And as always, I will see you all in the next comic panel.